Hello and welcome to another Hillsboro Maker Lab at home. Today we're going to be making ice lanterns, which can be fun in the winter or the summer or anytime really. It's a fun science activity that just involves freezing some water, taking it from a liquid state to a solid state to make something artsy and decorative. Check out what I've got here. I've got a candle burning in my little pillar of ice that we've created. This is a renewable, easy to repeat craft that again, you can do anytime. What you're gonna need here is a bottle. You can use a smaller bottle for a smaller candle or a larger one for a larger lantern. You're gonna need a candle. It can be a regular practical candle with fire or an electronic LED candle if that's easier and safer for you to use. Going to need a little bit of tape, some scissors, might need some string or a popsicle stick, could use a knife as well, and I'll show you, and a small cup or bottle. So let's go through the process to make this. First of all, start with a large bottle. I cut it maybe about halfway. You can do this with scissors. I like to start with a knife, so adults use the knife to do this part, but you cut into the side of the bottle. And you just need a small cut to get it started. Once you've got that, go ahead and take your scissors. Turn the lights back on so you can see what we're up to here. Take your scissors and cut as evenly as you can. Circle around the bottle so you end up with half that bottle. Alright, and be careful, since we are working with a rigid plastic, it's possible that it could be sharp on the top, so be aware of that. The next thing you're going to want is you're going to want a little bottle or a cup, and what you want is for it to dangle in the middle. That way when we fill it up with water and freeze that water, there's a divot or a hole, you can see on this one, in which you can set your candle with the ice kind of around the outside of it. So we need to find a way to secure that in the middle without touching the bottom or the sides. I like to dangle it from a popsicle stick. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the bottle to the popsicle stick here. You can also use a string. If you have a cup, you can just punch holes in the side of the cup and push the string through it. You can do it directly with tape. Skip the popsicle stick and string altogether. That works too. But here's the method that I like to use. Alright, so we'll attach the bottle and the popsicle stick. And then now we can just set that right there so it dangles in the middle of the bottle. Can you see that? Bottle in a bottle, or a cup in a bottle if you're using a cup. Next step is we want to add our decorations. I like to use natural decorations. It's great that it's spring. You can find leaves and flowers and pine cones and plenty of things just on the floor or just on the ground if you do a nature walk or if you go outside. Everything I found on the ground inside of in my front yard. So I'm going to put some of those in the sides here. These are going to be our decorations. A nice pine cone might be beautiful. Let's see if we can fit that in. Oh, might be a little too big for this one. Some more leaves. Some kind of pine decorations. Then let's go ahead and add our water to fill it up. Oh, one thing I might add is if your bottle or cup becomes buoyant, that is if it floats on top of the water, you might want to add a few rocks to increase the weight, the density there, so it won't float up when you're trying to freeze your lantern. I'm going to go ahead and pop those in. Put that in the middle. Let's add our water. Whenever you're pouring water, always a good idea to have a rag or something to clean it up with. And you want to fill it almost all the way to the lip or lid of your cup or bottle. That way you get a nice round cylinder with which your candle can sit in. I'm going to go ahead and add more rocks because you can see that's floating up on us there. Let's fill that up. It's still a little buoyant, so I'm going to use some tape to secure that down. Always a wonderful solution if you've got some duct tape. So let's secure that to the side. Let's try a longer piece and do the other side too. Added strength. I'm going to keep going with the tape so we get it where we want it. Again, I want that bottle or cup about in the middle, not touching the bottom or the sides, because we want to have room to add our candle. Okay, maybe we'll add a few more little leaves and decorations. Let's stick another flower on this side. Some leaves in here. And that's going to look really neat when it freezes. And so, now that we've got our water, our jug set up, what we're going to do is stick this in a freezer. Make sure you cut your bottle small enough to fit into a freezer shelf, and that you've cleared space to allow for it. Sometimes I like to put a little bag or plastic underneath, because as water freezes, it does a very interesting and very unique thing. It expands. Most things, when they get cold, when they freeze, they contract. But water, the hydrogen bonds to itself easily enough that it begins to form those crystals, and the water expands. So be ready in your freezer for this to rise up and maybe expand a little bit or push on your plastic bottle. It's kind of an interesting process to look at. You can see how full it is now, and then judge how full it is after it's frozen. I'd give it a good 24 hours to really solidly freeze, because we want something that is solid enough that we can handle it, place in our candle, and won't fall apart immediately. You can see that this has been here a little while. It's only melting a bit, but I have a nice tray to put it on so that water, as it heats up back to room temperature from the heat of the candle, begins to revert back into a liquid and melt. So you can put these outside as long as they're supervised, or if you're using an electronic candle, or if you're doing it inside, make sure you've got a plate underneath, a non-flammable plate, to catch the drippings of the liquid water. And you know what you can do with those water and those ingredients? You can freeze them again. It's a repeatable process. So I'm going to go stick this in my freezer and see the beautiful lantern that'll come out for it tomorrow. Well, it's been 24 hours. I've let my frozen lantern chill in the freezer. That water has solidified and expanded, even crushed my inner cup a little bit because it's plastic and that expanding water exerts a pressure on it. So that changed the shape a little bit of what I made. But in order to get it out of its plastic container here, helps to run it under hot water, or if you've got a container of hot water, let it sit there just for a little bit to warm up. So it can melt just a little to make it easier to get out. I ran mine under hot water, so I've got, if we pull it out of there, we've got our ice lantern. You feel that? It's very cold to the touch, it's slippery. There's the liquid dripping off of it. That's where the solid ice is turning back into its liquid water form. And if we take off our decorations here, I got my cup in the middle. It's tricky to get out, because you can see how it's dented there because of that expanding ice crushed it. If you've got a more solid cup to put in the middle, that probably won't happen to you. All right, got our designs off, and now you can see this is our lantern here. Pull let's see if we can fit a candle inside. Oh yeah, that sits nicely just underneath the ice. So you can't see the candle. Let's go ahead and light it. There. I recommend a tray and having a towel nearby if you're doing this indoors. Outdoors, you can let it burn, but not. Remember to keep it supervised because open flame outdoors can be dangerous. But can you see that light in there? Let's turn our lights off and see if we can see that a little better. We've made a frozen lantern. There, you can see that illuminating our ice lantern from the inside. This will look really cool in the evening or in the dark. You've got that semi-transparent ice, as well as your flowers, leaves, and other decorations to take a look at that. Pretty cool, huh? Go ahead and try it and see if you can do this too. It's been a pleasure. I hope yours turns out as cool as mine. Thank you.